Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Lots to cover, no doubt. We had some heavier rain yesterday, many spots. Grenada, for example. We've had some showers and storms this morning in St. Croix. So very active for us across the Caribbean. And I want to show you how all of this works its way off toward the west and could eventually develop into the next named system, which is Sara. And of course, that up there, that is Raphael. I want to show you that loop that may eventually do. But the first thing is first, that is the heavy rain as expected. We've been talking about for days how that rain chance would just be creeping up in those isolated areas of flooding. And that has happened. And we could see it here. So the surge of moisture near the Dominican Republic, south side, Santo Domingo. Then we work our way back toward Puerto Rico. A little bit of a break right now, but look at the rain over toward the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. I mentioned some of that rain near St. Croix. As the day goes on, we'll see some of this feeding in to Puerto Rico. And then we just swing around Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, Saba, St. Kitts and Nevis, and even over towards Statia. Some of this rain is going to be lifting in just over the next few hours. Montserrat, Guadalupe dealing with some of the rain nearby. May catch some breaks, Dominica to the south, but here's that surge of moisture that worked across coming from Barbados, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and Grenada. We had quite a stormy afternoon, evening last night for many of us here. St. Lucia, bit of a break, more of the action down to the south or off to the west, but some of this has been feeding down toward Trinidad and Tobago, so watching out for that elevated chance of rain right on track. And then we swing over here. This blob here, as expected, has been weakening, right on track. Thank you for your trust with this system, kind of a different system, so thank you for your trust in the track I've been showing you and in all of that. It is weakening, it stays right on track. But let's start with the rain now in the chance that Sara may eventually form. So let's show you what's going on here. Of course, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, we've had heavier rain, even Nicaragua. Thank you for the updates on the landslide potential. Here's that rain near Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic later today. Here's that rain in the Eastern Caribbean. All of that works across right there near Jamaica and just south. Later this week, the rain is going to build. This will be the spot to watch for the potential of some additional tropical development and maybe even Sara as we get down the road. Now, as we get into the next couple of days, that rain's around. Look at that surge of moisture still near St. Lucia, Barbados. Surge of moisture coming from Anguilla over toward the U.S., British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, back through Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So a lot of rain. Watching out for the potential of flooding. We'll go island by island with the rain totals in just a second. And then you see that rain working across. This here is by Monday, right? Nothing organized at this time, but just a lot of rain starting to build, continues to progress across, and still watching out for the flood threat, some of those mudslides, Panama, Costa Rica, right through here, and parts of Central America. You can see that heavier rain. Now, let's go forward in time. This here is by Tuesday, just kind of ticking ahead. And look at that rain building near Colombia. Even for us in the ABC Islands, we're going to see that rain chance bumping up some throughout the week. But there's the rain here on Tuesday. Here's Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba right here. Going forward in time, and always keep an eye on the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, just most of this all down to the south. This here is by Wednesday. Here's that rain. So all of that action we have right now in the Eastern Caribbean just works across, and then by Thursday, there could be a little spin here starting to develop. Some of the models are latching onto this. This here is the American model, but several of the models are showing some signs of development. The Icon, the Canadian model, I'll be going through that, of course, model by model, and some of the upcoming videos for you to show you the chances of development even further. But this area here, now if this does start to develop, it is more likely to kind of work its way back toward the northwest. So I'll keep an eye on parts of Mexico, Belize, Honduras down the road, because if this develops, this could eventually try to work our way by the time we get to the end of the week and the upcoming weekend, next weekend, the upcoming weekend, all of that working across. That is the spot to watch. Here's one of the reasons why those water temperatures, of course, a bit cooler in the Gulf of Mexico, and they've been dropping because Raphael has been hanging out there. But we look into the Caribbean where this rain's coming across, and then it kind of parks itself near Jamaica. So Jamaica, our rain chance will go up later in the week. Well, those water temperatures still about 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, plenty warm enough for something to develop. These water temperatures here are more like we have in October. So this hurricane season, November is acting more like October. That's why it's been so active, and we could see more action forming. So the next name on the list is Sara. Of course, Raphael That's what's weakening in the Gulf of Mexico now, in just 4 names left on the list. They don't use all the letters. They don't feel there's enough names for certain letters, but nonetheless, Sara is the next name, then Tony, Valerie, and William, and that rounds out the list. If we were to get through the list, I don't think we necessarily will, there's a secondary list of names that we could go to, but overall, just a super active season, super devastating season with how many of the storms that not only formed, but had huge impacts, of course, just across the board, from Helene, Milton, Beryl really kicking off the season with that devastation across parts of the southeastern Caribbean. Now we look at this area. This is what we're watching in the Gulf of Mexico, and it should do a little bit of a spin and then kind of move its way down to the south. I kind of highlighted that loop that this area could take. This is Rafael in the Gulf of Mexico. In yesterday's video, I was highlighting that. All of the trends on this, those are the computer models over time, just continuing to weaken. When I joined you yesterday, I was showing you how the eye was filling in and it was already weakening, but it may do a little bit of a loop as it feels a front to the north, then just kind of dive down to the south. I don't expect any real landfall out of this really anywhere with this. And you can see here's what's going on with this and why it's kind of taking that little weird loop. Now, first off, this is in the Gulf, but it is drawn in a bit of moisture. So Cancun, Cozumel, we may get clipped by a couple of those far-stretching feeder bands right in here. But here's a front to the north. This front draws it to the north initially, still weakening, falling apart. You can't even really see much of it by tomorrow. But then that front passes by, so it gets kind of pulled to the north, and then it's actually going to kind of loop back around and dive down to the south. But look here. There's almost nothing to see. This here's by Monday. It's falling apart, totally falling apart. There'll be a little bit of a spin in here as it just kind of dies out here, but all attention will be over here. Could see some extra rain on Monday for us across the Bahamas. Got us covered, but there's that surge of moisture down in the Caribbean, and that's what we're watching for the flooding now and for that potential of development. So let's show you kind of the wide picture here with the European model, right? So here's Rafael, here's Jamaica. And there's that rain that's kind of stretching back toward parts of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, back through Dominica. The heavy areas of rain. Please be mindful of some of the flooding we're going to have. Some islands may be dry, other of our islands may be on the very wet side with the flooding. But all of this just works its way off toward the west. So even the European model hinting at the chance of development down the road. So let me take you out in time here. This is by tomorrow afternoon. There's the weakening with Rafael, and let's go out in time further. This here is by Monday. Now the green on the map, that's the rain on the map, and look at all of that moisture just building. Of course, we have it now in the Eastern Caribbean, but then it starts to move toward the Central Caribbean. Another little surge of moisture. We got to watch that as we get toward later in the week. We may see some additional rain. It's going to stay active. Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Here is Rafael weakening. So this is Monday. Let's go out in time another day, just kind of ticking ahead. This here is by Tuesday, so stopping the clock here. Now, a couple things we know kind of where we may start to get some of that development. It's right in here. Here's Jamaica. So Tuesday to Wednesday, our rain chance is going to bump up in Jamaica, and then I'll be watching to see if anything does try to develop. There's what's kind of left of Rafael that just falls apart. But that moisture works across, and every now and then as I watch the European model from overnight, I'm watching stuff nonstop, probably too much. I start to see a little hint of a spin up trying to develop here. Like the American model, if something develops, you see right in there, trying to hint at something developing. If something develops, it would most likely pull its way back toward Belize or Mexico. Even if it doesn't develop, even if it doesn't get a name, it doesn't become Sara, we're going to have a lot of extra rain working its way back towards Central America later in the week, and we need to watch out for the flooding. High pressure and control, so what may or even may not develop down here, I don't see it going up here because high pressure is a blocker, just kind of blocking things. So if this area does develop, it'll continue to move toward the northwest and kind of even toward the west and just work into Central America. But we'll track those trends as we go forward. So of course, the seas, very dangerous. Where Rafael is falling apart, here's meters, here's feet on your screen. So the seas, again, very rough in much of the Gulf of Mexico. Not as much in the Caribbean in the short term, but let me go, this is Monday. Let me just kind of go out in time here. By the middle and end of the week, we're going to see things really building as we work our way into the Caribbean. See a little more of the green popping up right in here. This is by Friday, so just kind of getting forward. Just to give you a heads up for anyone that is interested on the water, you see a little bit of even yellow popping up, but mainly the green, a couple meters, 7-8 feet. That's because of the area of rain that's going to be moving in and the potential of development later this week. Now we swing up to the north, it's front after front. Now in Bermuda, some of these fronts clipping by, coming right out of Newfoundland. We have one front leaving, another one tomorrow coming through Quebec. You see over toward the Great Lakes. So by the time we get into Monday, we're going to see another front bringing some rain, and then on the backside of it, maybe some snow back toward New Brunswick and watching over toward Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island for some rain. Could be a little bit heavy at times too, and that'll give us another shot of some colder water. Now out here, just watching a couple blobs, not seeing anything trying to develop on the eastern Pacific side, but still monitoring that. We are still in the hurricane season. All right, so Cuba, Bahamas could get a couple passing showers the next couple days, but later in the week, Jamaica over toward the Cayman Islands, I'll be watching out for that rain chance bumping up. But in the short term, really Haiti, Dominican Republic points off to the east. That's where some of those higher totals are. And you see some of these blacks showing up in here. That would be some 3-day totals of 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain. That's why I started with this in this video. I am concerned about the flooding. It is going to be kind of hit or miss. It's not one big blob of rain, but please be mindful of the flooding, mudslide potential, and Anguilla, Sebastacia. We'll see some rain. Now, Antigua, Barbuda to the south, not quite as much, but it picks up a little bit near Dominica again, down through St. Vincent over toward Grenada and Trinidad. We'll watch out for some totals that could be around 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain for a 3-day total, and even some showers in northern Guyana and northern Suriname. Venezuela, hit or miss showers. Of course, the heavier rain, Costa Rica, Panama. You've been so kind to leave those comments and let this weather community know what's going on. That's why that comment section is so important, because I just want everyone to kind of have a good feel on what's going on. But more high totals, Costa Rica, Panama, even trying to creep up to Nicaragua. Then all eyes will be on late in the week to see if Sara tries to develop Mexico City up through Texas, mainly the dry weather. So unsettled for us in Jamaica today. Rain chance about 40 to 50%, 30% chance the next couple of days across the Cayman Islands as we go through the weekend. But Trinidad and Tobago, the rain chance starts to bump up again. We're going to see some additional moisture trying to pull in early into the upcoming week. But Barbados, very unsettled, 70% chance of rain the next couple of days, a 70% chance today in St. Lucia. 60% chance for tomorrow and Monday. We don't get a big drop in that rain chance, and you see kind of bouncing around. Of course, Grenada, a lot of this has already panned out from some of the heavier rain we had overnight. St. Vincent the Grenadines, 60 to 70% chance through the weekend. In the next couple of days, Martinique, a 60% chance. Rain chance elevated, not all day stuff, but Dominica, we'll see some rounds of rain that will be a potential. We do that again in Guadeloupe right through the weekend. Little drop off on Monday, back down to a 50% chance. Antigua and Barbuda, about a 50% chance of scattered showers, and we could get a couple thunderstorms today. St. Kitts and Nevis over toward Montserrat, a 60% chance. The next few days, a 60% chance. Anguilla and St. Bart's this weekend, and about a 50 to 60% chance. St. Martin, Saba, and Stacia. Rain chance on the higher side. Maybe not yet today in Puerto Rico, but it will be building later today through the weekend. Monitoring some of the flooding, U.S. British Virgin Islands. We have that rain around right now in many locations. Let me know in the comments. 30 to 40% chance in the Bahamas. It will start to tick up later this week. About a 50 to 60% chance the next 2 days unsettled through the Turks and Caicos. In the Dominican Republic, especially tomorrow, our rain chance is going to get higher, and it will start to bounce up gradually the next few days as we get into Haiti by Monday. About a 50% chance, 20 to 30% chance of Belize. We're going to monitor closely the end of the week, so giving that heads up across Belize to see if anything develops. Got you covered. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, we can see the rain chance starting to build by the time we get into next week with all of this moisture moving across. We've had some showers the last few days. I'll be tracking that. Guyana, best chance right along the water northern section. Suriname, about a 20% chance, 30% chance over the next couple of days. In Cuba, up to a 40% chance by Monday in Cuba. Costa Rica, Panama, been highlighting that flooding for days and days and days. Nicaragua, about a 40% chance. Not a lot in Honduras today. Rain chance only 20%, 30% chance for tomorrow. 40 to 50% chance of scattered showers across Guatemala and Mexico City. We are on the hot side and mainly dry. 40% chance of rain scattered about across the Yucatan Peninsula. 50% chance in northern Colombia. Watching out for some areas of flooding closer to the Caribbean. 40% chance in northern Venezuela, and about a 40% chance today with the tail end of the front moving by Bermuda. So taking you through things, Rafael continues to weaken as expected in the Gulf of Mexico, but that surge of rain in the Caribbean giving us those areas of flooding, and then I'll be watching out as the week goes on for the chance of development. Next name on the list is Sara. Please be safe with the flooding. Have a good rest of your day.